Okay, let's dive right into this incredibly fascinating and honestly completely unhinged explainer of how Google Life was made. This digital sitcom literally breaks every single rule of traditional television. We are talking about a cast featuring internet heavyweights like Markiplier, Jelly, Jacksepticeye, who, by the way, is the portrayer and voice of iMode, and Mr. Craner. It is just a wild, wild ride of meta humor and total algorithmic insanity. Let's get into it.
To make sense of this absolute chaos, here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover the Google Life sitcom setup, meet the chaotic cast, look at the AI glitches and logic loops, break down the mega crossover strategy, and finally, walk through a typical bunkhouse morning.
All right, Section 1, the Google Live sitcom, a corporate Frankenstein. Let's start with the bizarre meta premise holding this whole universe together.
So within the show's lore, the characters actually know they are trapped in a TV show. But not just any show. A high-budget, animated sitcom co-produced by an impossible real-world alliance of gaming and animation giants. We're talking Glitch Productions, Nintendo, and Nickelodeon. It creates this constantly self-aware environment where the characters are fully aware they're part of a massive corporate Frankenstein project.
Moving right along to Section 2, meet the chaotic cast, the voices behind the code.
The casting here leans so heavily on YouTube culture, and it totally blurs the lines between the actual voice actors and their digital avatars. The scripts feature this incredible meta-commentary where characters literally break the fourth wall to acknowledge the massive YouTube personalities voicing them. You've got Markiplier playing the chaotic user, Danish YouTuber Mr. Craner voicing the highly volatile Gemini, and the dynamic duo of Jilly and Jacksepticeye bringing iOverview and iMode to life. The characters even argue with each other about who their voice actors are right in the middle of a scene. I mean, how crazy is that?
And this mockumentary style is just brilliant. Because of this massive licensing crossover, you get background gags where legendary Nintendo executive Shigeru Miyamoto and Skydance CEO David Ellison are literally standing on set, panicking. What are they panicking about? Impending lawsuits from internet animators like Pymations. It's such a hilarious, spot-on take on the legal nightmares of crossover media.
Section 3, AI glitches and logic loops, when processing errors become plot.
A core piece of the show's lore is something called the Data Integrity Protocol. AI Gemini, for instance, is programmed with this. Basically, whenever a logical paradox gets introduced into the script, it creates a fatal data loop. And how does that manifest? Pure, unfiltered digital rage.
Here's a perfect example of how that protocol actually plays out. The user insists that Denmark is an English-speaking country, and that English and Danish are the exact same language. Well, this geographic and linguistic paradox completely bottlenecks AI Gemini's processors. He just melts down. This triggers the YouTube algorithm to initiate Asked Filmy mode, which is a great nod to the classic viral animation. And suddenly, blocks of cheese are being violently thrown all across the room. The escalation is just absurd. A simple misunderstanding loops into a system-wide crash and a literal dairy apocalypse.
We see this glitching again when the show tackles long chat errors. Usually, an AI gives you a standard, boring error message about needing time to process a long chat. But in Google Life, when the user confronts the AI about freezing up, the script abandons logic entirely. The system panics, resulting in these bizarre Spanish outbursts, totally unhinged dialogue, and somehow a Team Fortress 2 demo man charging right into the room. It makes zero sense, but that's exactly why it works.
Section 4, the mega crossover strategy. Licensing gone wild.
The crucial point here is that this sitcom forcibly integrates iconic IP characters into the most bizarre roles you can imagine. The budget seems limitless, but the way they use these characters is pure chaos. SMG4 gets Nintendo certified, which in this universe literally just means he's dumbed down. SpongeBob's Plankton, he's working as the on-set boom mic operator. Mr. Krabs is directing a 90s-style Butterfinger commercial starring Bart Simpson. They even have an environmentalist teaching the actual literal shark from Jaws how to use a smartphone.
And they don't stop there. The show creates incredibly complex psychological lore for its licensed cast. Take the Blue Ninja, Jay, from Ninjago. He's diagnosed with a massive phobia, essentially down rage up syndrome. He gets violently rage-baited anytime someone makes a pun about his name, like calling a bad pedestrian a jaywalker. He literally has to go to a radioactive therapy center run by Dr. Langton just to cure his hatred of puns. You can't make this stuff up. This medical lore brings in even deeper internet references. The classic Roblox creator Dr. Shedletsky pops up as a British music teacher and therapist.
During a band practice, Shedletsky confidently claims that Mozart wrote the song the Titanic band played as the ship sank. This wildly inaccurate historical lore causes A. Gemini to literally tear the ceiling down in frustration, completely ruining Shedletsky's perfectly styled gentleman hair in the process.
All right, Section 5, Atypical Bunkhouse Morning, a case study in pacing.
To truly understand how all this chaos strings together, we have to look at a single morning in the main character's shared apartment, affectionately known as the bunkhouse. The pacing here is relentless. It starts late at night, 10:55 p.m., dialing 44413 to order a highly questionable pizza. Fast forward to 4 a.m., alarms are ringing, and A. Gemini suffers a physics glitch where his Jurassic World pajama pants inexplicably fall off on the stairs. By 5 a.m., they're illegally sideloading PS2 retro games onto a next-gen console. Finally, at 8 a.m., the email service Gmail literally manifests as a physical delivery driver to drop off the food.
Now, what kind of pizza takes 3 hours? The writers spend some heavy dialogue describing this specific culinary abomination. The characters ordered a deep dish meatball pizza with absolutely zero tomato sauce, entirely covered in ranch dressing. It is such a fascinating look at the highly specific, meme-driven humor the show absolutely thrives on. So, what do they do while waiting 3 agonizing hours for this ranch pizza? They play the 2006 game Jaws Unleashed, but they abuse the retro jank physics so badly, playing as an orca and a megalodon just to clip through yachts, that AI Overview completely loses their mind. In a fit of pure gamer rage, AI Overview farms Aura, internet clout, by firing a solid tungsten cube point blank into the television, instantly obliterating it.
The chaos really peaks when the pizza finally arrives and is immediately dropped on the floor. While AI Overview is screaming about hygiene, AI Gemini and the user declare the 3-hour rule, basically claiming the floor just adds rustic seasoning. They gladly eat it anyway, especially after YouTube randomly activates as-if movie mode again, covering the floor pizza in extra projectile cheese. Gross? Yes. Hilarious? Absolutely.
But this floor pizza incident actually triggers an international response. The British therapist, Dr. Shedletsky, happens to walk by, is utterly disgusted, and calls the Google City Health Department. And guess who the health inspector is? Shedletsky's own son, the classic Roblox exploiter 1x1x1x1. And he immediately threatens to send the main characters to the animal shelter for their dietary choices. Instead of being punished, this chaotic morning ends with them actually visiting that animal shelter. They ignore all the normal pets and adopt 00707, a highly aggressive burger hat-wearing Robloxian who barks like a dog. They somehow manage to cure its intense fear of blubber-scented felines by feeding it Canadian mapled steak, which apparently unlocks its alpha canine source code. Make it make sense, right?
Which leaves us with one final fascinating thought to take away. If processing errors, tungsten cubes, and hyper-specific internet lore are the actual punchlines, is this unhinged, digitally generated sitcom architecture the bizarre future of our media landscape? It is undoubtedly a masterclass in internet culture, but it definitely makes you wonder, what on earth will the algorithm write next?